Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Arcantu here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm so happy to have some time with you this afternoon together. Look, it's that time of year again. It is November, which means that it's time for the Teaneck International Film Festival. There's a couple things you can set your clock to. We fall back and we have TIFF, all usually very close together. And so we're very, very excited because, we love the Teaneck International Film Festival, although we know that there's many film festivals around. This one is different. This is the social justice heart of the Teaneck of film festivals for sure. And this year is a very, very, very special anniversary for TIFF. It is the 20th anniversary. We are so lucky to have this gem in our Bergen County backyard. And I'm going to start with introducing you to our two guests, and then we will jump into it. First, welcome back to Jeremy Lentz, who is the Executive Director of the Teaneck International Film Festival. And we are also so thrilled to have with us today Rachel Feldman, who is the director of the film Lilly, which is one of the films that the YWCA of Northern New Jersey is sponsoring at this year's Teaneck International Film Festival, and it will be airing live on November 9th. So with that, let's jump right in. Every minute counts. So Jeremy, 20 years. Oh my goodness. I cannot even believe that. I'm sure you're feeling the same. I'm sure feeling the same. Talk to me about the significance of that major milestone.
It's like a little kid. I mean, it feels like yesterday when I was approached by the Puffin Foundation and asked to replace the outgoing executive director, Ellen Rand. And I was a bit trepidatious. And I said, okay, after a bunch of meetings, I agreed to do it. And I said, 1 year. I'll commit 1 year.
Yeah.
And here we are celebrating our 20th year. But I think what keeps us coming back is the importance of what this festival has become. When I took it over, we were already working with our co-partnered organizations like the National Coalition of 100 Black Women and the Links of Bergen County, who co-founded the festival with us, who are still our presenting partners to this day, presenting our two opening night features. And we were doing the work of activism, but we just didn't spell it out. And when I took over the festival, we repurposed the festival and established this forever theme of activism making change, because it aligned with the work that the Puffin Foundation does nationally and locally in our communities. And it also paralleled Teaneck's unique history of being the first township in the history of the United States that voted to voluntarily integrate, among many other kind of progressive ideals. So when we created that theme, it really repurposed the festival and gave us a much bigger voice in terms of spotlighting the films of marginalized groups and of uplifting stories and providing a platform for filmmakers to really showcase activist-driven cinema. And over the last 10 years or so, the work, as you all know, has gotten a lot more important. As we've seen, media outlets closing, our newspapers folding, and, less and less opportunities for people to have places where they can get news, where they can share stories, where they can engage in safe spaces. The festival has really taken the reins in providing those spaces and ensuring that we're telling the stories that need to be told in this country at a time when, distributors or film houses may be too scared to pick up these films for distribution or air them on channels for fear of reprisal. So, I think that really is what drives our festival. And 20 years speaks to our community of supporting it. Nobody ever thought that a suburban community right in the backyard of New York City would be able to have a film festival that could flourish over the span of 20 years. And that speaks to what is so unique and special about our community, and really a volunteer-driven festival.
Yes. I have to say, I do think The energy of the film festival does come from the community, does come from the team, and really the commitment to keep it focused in this way. Over these years, it could have gone down a lot of different paths, but it did stay very, very steady and firm in this space. And as a nonprofit partner, and I know that you have many, I do personally, and our organization really appreciates the opportunity to partner on films that are so linked to our mission, because that is really how we can make our missions come to life, and our activism as organizations, also, really come to life in a very different way. Before I jump to talking to Rachel, because I'm so excited about the film, I just want to ask you, because being this big anniversary, you really are celebrating it in a very special way, which is really exciting. The Emerging Filmmaker Activist Award, which is a $5,000 cash prize. I mean, that's
It's pretty
amazing.
awesome. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. That came about this year through the generosity of the Puffin Foundation. Another way to really help us solidify our place in the film festival circuit and activism-driven cinema. And this is the inaugural year of the award. It's being awarded to a filmmaker by the name of Arfat Sheikh, who has a film narrative feature out there that is premiering all over the globe called Saffron Kingdom, that tells a story about Kashmir and follows, the plight of a family from Kashmir to the United States, and quite a controversial film in terms of just getting it made and getting actors to star in it. And he will be there to accept the award, and there'll be a really incredible talkback following his film. So, this will be an annual award that the festival will give, and we're so grateful to the work of the foundation, to have them behind us to really help tell the stories of voices that may be drowned out by mainstream media and, kind of big power.
Mm. Well, it's so important to invest in this way, to keep these mediums alive and to keep them so strong. I know that you have a boot camp also, to help filmmakers, which let's make sure we talk about that before we wrap up at the end. But I want to switch over and talk with Rachel. Folks, I know I had mentioned Rachel Feldman is with us. She is the director and writer of the film Lilly. YWCA of Northern New Jersey is one of the sponsors of this film, which is will be ending the festival with this amazing film, which is the story of Lilly Ledbetter. She became widely known after discovering that she had been paid significantly less than her male colleagues for decades while working at the Goodyear and Tire Company. Her case led to the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009, the first bill signed into law by President Barack Obama, which made it easier for workers to challenge pay discrimination. And the film, as if the core of the film was not enough, it features Emmy and Golden Globe winner Patricia Clarkson, who is amazing. So, Rachel, what inspired you to tell Lily's story? It's really such an unbelievable story. Talk about a hero and a shero, but a hero unto her own for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, and thank you for having me at the festival. I'm very excited to be there and to be the closing night film. So thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, Helen. My own employment exclusion as a filmmaker in Hollywood is really the thing that got me energized about employment discrimination. I had certainly grown up in a progressive environment and knew about feminism and all kinds of things. But when I graduated from film school with an award-winning short film and couldn't get a job for 15 years because I was a girl, and the kinds of discrimination that I experienced just because I was the sex that I am was so shocking to me that it really turned me into an activist for women behind the camera. And I've become a very outspoken activist for women directors and women cinematographers, for many, many years. So when I saw Lilly Ledbetter speak on television, like everybody else did in 2008 at the Democratic Convention, I was just it truly was an epiphany. It was a magical moment in my life where something happened to me physiologically, and I grabbed my husband's shoulder and I said, "This is a movie. This is a great character." And I'm kind of embarrassed to say at the moment I didn't know who Lilly Ledbetter was at the moment. All I knew at that moment was who was this, bleach blonde Alabama, this gorgeous accent, just an ordinary woman. She described herself as an Alabama grandma talking about fair pay and gender equity in front of millions of Americans. And with a kind of grace and charm, I was just struck by her. And the very next day I reached out to her. I don't even remember how I found her, but I did. And I got her on the phone. And, it was a 17-year relationship. Because Lilly died last year. She died last October, yes, unfortunately, but she did see the finished film. And so, that's how I got to Lilly, and that's how I became interested. I'm a filmmaker. I'm not a documentarian. I'm a dramatic filmmaker. I've been working in television most of my career, directing the kinds of shows that everybody watches, Blue Bloods and Criminal Minds and The Rookie and, cop shows and medical shows. And I write screenplays that are, all kinds of genres. So it's not that I am a social justice filmmaker, but I am a social justice filmmaker. And so everything that I do, even if it's an episode of television, I imbue with as much activization of humanity as I possibly can, even in tiny little crevices of where directors in television can. If you get a cast, you're going to cast a lawyer, or a doctor. Why can't we see women and people of diversity? Or a child comes onto set and is inappropriately dressed. No, I'm not having a child on my TV show being sexualized like that. So there are ways that we can infuse media with our values, whether it's a social justice movie or not.
Yes. Well, I appreciate that you look at everything through that lens, because that really does, in this time when there's so much kind of moving the scales in one direction, that really does help in a very important way, level them out. And I want to say, I can imagine, first of all, it's amazing to me that you saw her and then found her and connected with her, were able to do that, because how many people see something like that and say, oh, I should do this, but everyone can't say they followed all the way through to this point. So, that alone is such a
that's my
wonderful part. Yes. That's a wonderful part of the story. Seems like we should give you one of the sessions of the boot camp to inspire some other young filmmakers how to get that superpower too. But so tell me, what was the most challenging part about portraying Lilly's decade-long fight for equal pay? Because it really was a long fight, as we know, and parts of it we're still fighting for sure. But how did you capture that?
Well, the job of, it is a very challenging job as the writer who's telling a long arc story of how to figure out what are the salient moments that you're only going to get an hour and a half or 2 hours to tell a story. Yeah. So, and I wanted to tell more than just the 10 years of her fight. I really wanted to make a movie about, and I think I did make a movie about a character and about her family life and her marriage and her relationship with her children, her relationship, not that you meet her mother, but she talks about her mother and her background. So it really was a movie that spans 50 years in many ways. And it's a challenge to break down that span of real life into a first act, a second act, and a third act. But there are mandates of architecture that screenplays demand. And you got to hit that note at the end of the first act. You got to build out your second act in a certain way. You need to fulfill all of those storylines in the third act. So, as a professional screenwriter, and I had a partner, Adam Prince, this is what we do before we even start writing word one. We map it all out and we figure it out. I interviewed Lilly many, many, many times, but I also had the benefit of her book, which is called Grace and Grit, which was written with Lanier Scott Isom. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. And if anyone is interested in Lily's, life in more than what you see in the movie, you should definitely get this book. It's beautiful. But I also had the book to inspire us. So, based on interviews and the book, we structured the screenplay.
So Jeremy, why was it so important to bring this film into the film festival fold? I mean, obviously for the YWCA, this film is just really at the core of what our organization was founded on, for sure.
For many reasons. TIFF is a largely, I mean, we skew probably 80% female in terms of, our audience and our sponsoring organizations. But more specifically, this is a story that clearly has national implications, but there are so many local connections and components to this story, one of which being the fact that when New Jersey passed its own similar version of the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which Governor Murphy signed into law, that was our own Senator Loretta Weinberg from Teaneck, who was, at that time, it was one of her last bills as Senate Majority Leader before her retirement that she got signed into law. And we're so fortunate that the senator is going to be joining us on that panel this Sunday. I mean, she's a trailblazer in New Jersey for every progressive law that has been signed, and so many laws that have had national implications or set the framework for other states to model bills like New Jersey has done. So I think, that the film really speaks to so many important themes that will resonate with audiences today. It was just the perfect fit for us, and to have Rachel coming, I mean, we're over the moon.
Yes. I have to agree. And I know that, Jeremy, remind us, I know the YWCA is partnering with a few other wonderful organizations to sponsor this film, because I know we're all very like-minded in the, in the importance of the film. Who are the other sponsors? I think the National Council of Jewish Women, the Bergen section. Is that correct?
Yes, National Council of Jewish Women, Bergen section, local activist Shanar's Arjamund. And I also believe that the League of Women Voters. If I'm forgetting someone, forgive me.
Yes,
just to remember.
There are a few. Well, we'll definitely be shouting them out and tagging everybody in the post here today. So Rachel, you got to you had this thought when you were watching her. You got to have this long connection to Lilly until her unfortunate passing last year. What is your hope that folks take away from this film, watching it, knowing that connection that you had to her and knowing what she, got to feel from seeing it as well?
The thing that I hope that people walk away with, particularly in this moment, it's interesting. We started making the film so long ago, and just how we got the film made is a whole story unto itself, because that had its own arduous journey that mirrored Lily's journey in so many ways. But I kept saying, "Oh, now is the perfect moment for this movie. Now is the perfect moment. No, now is the perfect." But you know what? Now is the perfect moment for this movie. And I think it is because the movie is about an ordinary person, just like you and me and everybody else who sees the movie, who does an extraordinary thing. And that right now, it's about every single one of us being courageous, every single one of us being brave, not to be frightened by the bullies, and to do the right thing, and to stand up for justice, and to keep standing up for justice. And that's all we can do. That's all we can do. And that's what she did. That's what she modeled for us. So while the film, has a basis in fair pay and gender equity, I really believe that no matter what the issue might be, for anywhere in the world, if you're in India or Afghanistan or anywhere, the Philippines, Korea, wherever you are in the world, whether you're a boy or a girl or a man or a woman, if you are being othered for some reason, if you are being treated poorly because of some bully, whether it's a bureaucrat or it's a government, I hope that Lily's story will inspire people to just say, I might be alone, but as I start to speak up, others will join me. And together in chorus, we can affect change.
That is so beautiful. And I have to say, in a time when I feel like so many people are waiting for leaders and heroes to step up and show the way, what a beautiful message to remind us that we are all the leaders and the heroes, and we just have to stand up and start walking in that direction so others can follow. She did it so perfectly, as you said, for the 10 years that she fought this fight. And clearly a lot of these fights are marathons. They're not sprints, for sure. But the folks, the communities that wrap around us, like the Teaneck International Film Festival, like the YWCA, like the other organizations with this film, are really how we get through those marathon runs, as we link arms and we do them together.
And Lily talked about that all the time. She was one person, but then, it was it was all these organizations who came to her aid, the ACLU and the Women University Group and the National Women's Law Center. And without all of those women who sort of taught her how to walk the talk and talk the talk, and helped her go to Washington, D.C. and she needed all of those organizations around her. And you're right, it's those communities that build the momentum.
Well, I know the magic of YW had put some photos up on the screen before. Maybe we could throw them up again. I just wanted to share, I myself had the opportunity to be present when Senator Weinberg had pushed forward the Diane B. Allen Equal Pay Act in New Jersey in April of 2018. It was signed. I happened to be there for the signing, and so was Lilly. And there she is with Governor Murphy addressing the crowd, and she's standing right behind him there, as next to the senator also, and our beloved Lieutenant Governor Shil Oliver in the room as well, while the bill was signed, and we all got to have some conversation with her. And I do remember her just being such an amazing force, and so perfect that she and Senator Weinberg were side by side in such a fight together, because Senator Weinberg is an equal force for sure. So it will be wonderful to sit with you both. It's going to be my tremendous honor, and thank you to Jeremy for giving that to me to facilitate the conversation. And, our time here is always short, but it's just enough to remind everyone why they should join us on Sunday evening. And some of the conversation we didn't get into today, we will get into in more detail on Sunday evening. So we do hope that folks can join us to hear a little bit about some of the challenges that mirrored in having the film made, and some that Rachel didn't get to share today.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to seeing you all in person and for showing you the film.
Yes, we can't wait to see it. Jeremy, thank you so much for always giving us the opportunity to, be part of the wonderful film festival. We're so excited for the kickoff. Remind us so that we can all set our calendars and clocks to when we're kicking off on Thursday, and what the schedule is to get us through to the big event on Sunday evening.
You got it. We kick off on Thursday, November 6th with opening night, and we will run through November 13th. Tickets are available at teaneckfilmfestival.org, and people can buy online or at the door. Also, you wanted me to mention we have a free filmmaker boot camp that will be hosted at Fairleigh Dickinson University at the Teaneck campus. People can sign up right on the ticketing site. So if you want to learn about the business, about screenwriting, about how to pitch a script or a show, it's going to be hosted by Ashley McFarlane, a television executive, formerly of WeTV, AMC Networks. And I just want to take this moment, Helen, to thank you and our partners with the YWCA. You've been with us for so many years, but it's through these partnerships, just in the vein of what we were talking about, that allows us to amplify our voices and allows us to expand our audience, to engage with people who need to hear these stories, and hopefully serve as a catalyst for people to want to become more involved, active, engaged citizens and stand up for what's right, just like Lilly did. And for Rachel, for people like you to, have the wherewithal to tell this story, to get it made, to get it financed, and to bring it to places like the Teaneck International Film Festival. We're grateful and honored.
Well,
Thank
we're
you.
thrilled to stand together in good times. We stand together in tough times. We just stand together. It's the way it happens for sure.
We need each other. We really do. We
Yes.
really do. Strength in numbers.
Yes, for sure. And in that, everyone, if you haven't voted early, you still have a chance to vote tomorrow. Here in New Jersey, we have a governor's election, which is one of two really important governor races in the state, for sure. So we do hope that you make that time to get out and vote. If you did vote, check on your friends and family and make sure that they voted too. Your voice is your power, for sure. And, it's really important to exercise that. And then after you vote, go get your tickets to the TIFF. We will make sure you've got the link in the comments below so that you can do that. If you watch this today, I also do encourage you to tell a friend, share it on your Facebook page, stick it in your messenger to some folks, copy the link and send it in a text. It's a great way to share the important information here. And, hopefully folks will join us on Sunday for the film. We will be at Temple Emeth in Teaneck at 7:30 p.m. And as we noted, our wonderful Senator Loretta Weinberg will be with us, as well as Rachel will be joining us in person. And I can't wait to be sitting with both of them, and Jeremy as well. Please make sure you do support the film festival, as we noted, from November 6th to the 10th. And again, the link will be here below. For any of you watching that are female veterans, we hope that you join the YWCA on November 7th for our free symposium for women veterans as part of our Operation Sisterhood program. It's a great opportunity for you to make connections and contacts to support your civilian life after serving our country. And we're so grateful for your service. And with that, I also just want to share, if anyone would like to join us on November 12th, it is our gala for the YWCA to help us support important projects like this one. So with that, we say our thanks to Jeremy and to Rachel for joining me today, and to all of you for making the time to watch. And we look forward to seeing you at Temple Emeth on Sunday evening. Thank you all. Be well. And don't forget to vote. Bye, everybody.